Hey, good morning, guys. Wow, Iowa. Iowa won. Now, I'm going to give Iowa 10 points on that one. Me, 2 maybe, because I learned a lot. But, man, Iowa kicked my butt. So we're talking about Iowa Wind and Rock. It's ultra gravel, 340 miles of gravel in Iowa. Iowa is not flat. If you haven't ridden there, it's it's up and down the whole time. So before we get to this, if you like these videos, please subscribe below. Please give us a like, share with your friends, help us grow what we're trying to grow here. Go over and, well, we're going to do a different thing for the next giveaway, but like us on Instagram or Facebook. We're starting to do a bunch of giveaways of things. Beta Fuel from Science and Sport was the last thing that we gave away. A box of this, I think it runs you like 80 bucks, maybe 40 bucks. There's sales there. You should check it out. But it's got a bunch of the packets on the inside. This is what I used at Iowa Wind and Rock. So the nutrition, I packed, I think 9 of these on my bike. So that would fill the Camelback 3 times. 80 grams of carbs in each serving. It just makes eating and nutrition almost brainless. The number of people that I've turned on to this who now message me and say, oh my God, I'm a lot faster when I actually have proper nutrition. Nutrition matters, and most cyclists I'm actually realizing aren't eating enough. So 60 to 90 grams of carbs per hour, drill that into your head and then do the math backwards. You will see your performance increase. So this video is going to be a little bit longer because a lot happened at this race. A lot happened after the race. This is more of telling the story of the race. I usually try and include some like tips or whatnot. Maybe my tips would be things to... This is a whole different type of racing that I've never done before. You know, last year I thought 150 miles was long. When you're doing 340, no support allowed. You cannot get not only a hand up, but you can't meet somebody for food. You got to try to bring as much stuff as you can bring without bringing, you know, I wasn't even worried about the weight of the bike. I wanted the food. I wanted the right drink mix. I wanted to be able to consume food this whole time. So we packed up the bikes. I had a Relevate Design half frame bag. I put a ton of, put some candy in there. I put some Beta Fuel in there. People got me a little worried. They're like, you don't know what's going to be available at these rest stops, and you're really in the middle of nowhere. So like you have a checkpoint at mile 80 something, then you have a checkpoint at mile 167, and there's a store there. That's the last checkpoint. Then there's a gas station that they say at mile like 263. If you didn't stop there, you weren't going to see anything for the next 90 miles. Or maybe it was 293. Foreshadowing, I didn't make it that far. So we get everything set up. We get checked in. I actually got bit by a dog. Luckily it didn't mess up my Bont shoe. I was really pissed. The gravel as we're riding there, you know, I'm used to being on the road and you can mow away from most dogs, and I'm going to write a blog on how to not get bitten by a dog because I see cyclists go crazy when they see a dog, and it's like you're really overthinking it. It's not that hard to get away. Knock on wood that I don't get taken out today. Ride towards the dog. The dog gets scared, and yell at the dog. The dog also gets scared. Do not try to kick the dog. The dog will then bite you. Do not try to kick the dog because then you'll go slower and the dog will stay with you. Ride towards the dog. Obviously make sure there's no cars around so that it cuts off the amount of room that he has to. He's going to stop and then charge you again. Reduce the amount of the space that he has. I'm going to have to draw this out, but don't freak out. I mean, I see people freak out and they nearly ride people off the road. But anyways, back to Iowa Wind and Rock. We check in. We get everything ready. We go to bed at like 8 o'clock. We wake up at 2. Is that right? I wanted to make this video last week, but I ended up foreshadowing getting really sick. The race started at 4 a.m., so we had to be down at the store at 3:45 to start. So yeah, I think we woke up at 2. Ate some food, went to the bathroom. Everything was packed and ready to go. That was one of the hardest things too. Number one, here's your tip. Don't forget cue sheet holders if you're going to be riding in the dark. we got there and we had these cue sheets and we're like, how are we going to do this? All right, well, we're going to ride with the group. We were planning on riding with the group for 150, 200 miles. That idea went to crap, not based on us, but we'll get to that later. So the group, luckily, they were prepared. They had headlamps to read the cue sheets that you put in these little plastic holders on your bike. We didn't have that. So bring those. That's your first tip. The race starts like pretty hot. And I'm thinking these guys realize this is like 350 miles, right? But there was a dude from Ram there. There was some older guy there. There were people that seemed to know like what was going on. We were the newbies. We're the roadies. We're the guys that, it was, the race director, we met her the day before. She's a badass chick. She's done Ram. She does all this crazy long stuff. Had done Trans Iowa. All the roads that we were going to ride had been ridden. And she was like, we're pumped that you guys are here because, we're like these weird roadie dudes coming into like the ultra gravel / ultra scene. And we were super excited. So I'm looking at Patrick. I'm like, dude, why is this so hard? Patrick got on the front for a second, which I was like, dude, come back here because we don't know where we're going. He missed the turn, and this guy is like, don't wait for him. It's a race. I'm like, bro, we're like 5 miles in. So the eventual winner came up to me. He's like, did somebody just attack because that guy missed a turn? And I was like, he did. That's my friend that missed the turn, but he's coming back. So it's like pitch black, 4 a.m. We're like VO2 maxing these climbs. And I'm thinking, okay, I see the guy from Ram. He's doing it too. So I'm like, this must be some type of strategy. Like, let's get rid of people that we don't want here. We're down to like a group of 20. I'm doing nothing on the front. I'm like, this is way too hard. But it kept kind of going that way. And I'm like, do we just let these guys go? Because there's no way they're going to hold this up for any duration very long. I mean, this was like a hard 2 hours. So at 4 hours, we were normalizing 3:05. So that's more than I wanted to normalize. Granted, that's not that hard for a normal ride, but when you're trying to ride for 24 hours, let's say, we foolishly had a goal of 22 hours, not realizing that the gravel was going to be so deep. But the beginning of the race was just crazy hard. We missed a turn at one point, so now when you miss a turn, when it says like, hey, mile 57.6, go left, you have to think, okay, mile 57.6 plus the 2 miles that we just rode out of the way. Doing math at that point wasn't hard, but I was like, man, I hope when we get these new cue sheets at the next checkpoint, they restart it, or all day we're going to be adding math, and it's just annoying. So eventually, the group gets whittled down to like, the guys who were going really hard exploded on this climb 2 hours in. And this guy this whole time is just like, I'm strong. Rah, rah, rah. This is a bad idea. He exploded. We never saw him again. A few other people that were with them exploded. And so there's this older guy, Mark. There's this kid, Ian, who is like floating up climbs from Minnesota, and he's into gravel. And I asked him, he had done 250, but not 350 before. There's me, there's Patrick, a couple other people. And then finally, so the sun's out, it's getting warmer, it got really cold again. I'm so sick of this gravel at 20 something degrees. This gravel focus has really made me rethink next year already, because I'm tired of racing when it's really cold out. I'm just getting old. Just old and wanting to complain about something. So we go and we turn and we're looking to make the next turn. And someone's like, dude, we missed a turn. And you can see this guy, Mark, is like, what? What? And he like looks at his cue sheet and he looks at the thing and he's like, we got to go back. And he like U-turns and starts hitting it. And I look at Patrick and like, these guys are like on a march. Like they are on a mission. Patrick and I sort of had the idea of like, we're going to ride as a group for 200 miles. And then if you want to throw an attack down, go for it, but you still have 150 miles to go. There is like no sense of community in this race at all. Like it is every man for himself. So Patrick and I'm like, dude, do you want us to let these guys go? And he's like, yeah, this is like way too hard. So Mark and Ian take off and we're like, see you guys later. Like we'll see you down the road. We start riding. Unfortunately, Patrick's had an off day. just couldn't get in a groove. So we ended up passing Ian. Ian flatted, which sucks. This kid looks super strong. I would have loved to see what he could have done. Sorry you had that bad luck, man. And we saw him changing a tube. So maybe he's not doing tubeless, or maybe his tubeless just failed. I don't really know. I don't know anything about gravel bikes and tubeless. But speaking of tubeless tires, Torino Dry, these things fly. And these are a pair of 700 by 33C. This is our next giveaway. So go to evoke.bike later today and look for a post, and you're gonna have to like it. You're gonna have to go subscribe by email. So we're giving these away. I'm gonna maybe give you a nice Nalgene. This is the one that I use, so you won't get this one. You'll get a brand new one with Evoke Bike on it. This is just our way of, thanking people. I forgot to look up the stats. I think we've got 3,000 readers on the blog now. About 1,000 of you are coming back every month. A lot of engagement. This is kind of what we're trying to create, a community based around loving gravel cycling, long cycling, road cycling, crits, road races. We just feel like this is missing. So part of our thing is we're going to buy some stuff and give it away to you. So keep sharing the post with everybody. We really appreciate it. But these tires were ripping, man. And I was just like floating up the climbs, and Patrick was having a harder time. And finally he was like, we're in second and third. And I was like, hey, do you think you're going to make it to the last checkpoint? And he's like, if I do, I'm just going to check out. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to hit out and try and catch this dude Mark so that I can ride with him through the night, because I don't have a headlamp. And now I'm going to have to look at the cue sheet through my headlight, through the light on my bike, remember maybe one or two turns, then try and look for the signs. I think here's tip 2. Have a headlight, because your light, if you're navigating the ground, is not going to navigate up top on the street signs. The night is what I was mostly worried about, just navigating. I made a comment on my Instagram. This felt kind of like Boy Scouts, and people have freaked out. Maybe 3 people. But they're like, and I don't know why people hate Boy Scouts, but I didn't like Boy Scouting. I don't like camping. Just not for me. I don't know. I hate packing up stuff, and living in a tent doesn't sound that fun. Although I'm going to do that in Oregon for the gravel grinder. So that's kind of dumb of me. But it'll be super fun because someone else is setting up my tent. Thank God. But have the headlamp that can see the street signs. And really, this is what I didn't like, is there's an adventure side to this type of race. And this lady came on Instagram and was like, we're real bike racers. And I never said you weren't real bike racers. People came in to defend ultra gravel. You don't need to defend ultra gravel to me. These are all just my opinions on how I feel. So please don't attack me saying that I'm not being disrespectful to this gravel race. I think it's I wouldn't have done it if I thought it was stupid. I think it's incredible. I think the guy that won is an absolute beast. I just don't feel the need to ride a bike for 30 hours. I don't feel the need to pack everything on my bike and try to adventure, this is an adventure, through Iowa in the dark. It's still cool. It's still super badass. I would have loved to have gone farther, but it didn't happen. I don't know if I'll be back. We'll see. But to people that are getting all this road racers telling us this is not a bike race. It's a bike race. It's just a very different type of race than I'm used to. I think if I ever did anything long like this again, I would go for the supported option. Be able to have people at the pit stops, be able to have, I don't know if a follow car is necessarily necessary, although that'd be great. Just trying to pat, you had to dress so that you could undress because the temperature is going to be changing. So the temperature went from 27 at one point to 85, at least by my Garmin. So 60-degree swing is pretty crazy. But anyways, so Patrick doesn't have a great day. I take off. I made a wrong turn that cost me probably 10 minutes. That was horrible because then I was I had closed the gap. That just opened it back up. And I saw a couple people on the road, and I was like, hey, have you seen a cyclist? How far ahead was he? And they were at one point, it sounded like 20 minutes. So damn, that 10-minute thing really crushed me. But so I get through the last checkpoint, and I get my beta fuel filled up, and everything's going well. I start riding. I'm probably 30 miles outside. I can't remember. I'm coming up on mile 200, and as I'm thinking, okay, mile 200. By mile 200, I'd climbed 15,000 feet. I go to shift, and it just doesn't shift. I'm like, shift. Click. That's weird. Hold the button down. There's no light on the junction box. This is interesting. Maybe the battery came loose in the seat post. Take the seat post out. It's all together. I unclip in the junction box. I like check everything I can check. I even check the derailleur. Just maybe some weird thing shorted, and I don't know. I'm cursing myself because we had said, we'd bring a battery charger just in case, but like our batteries were fully charged. And this wasn't that it went all the way down, because Di2 would have auto shifted. It would have said, hey, I'm almost low, and auto shifted into an easier gear. It didn't do that. It just turned off. So I'm stuck in the 28 or 25 in the back and a 30, 36, 34. I don't know, these small, weird non-road gears. It was so easy of a gear that I couldn't obviously pedal downhill. And since it's gravel, you need to pedal downhill or you're going like 14 miles an hour. Then I would hit the flat, still not be able to pedal, and then I could pedal up the hill, the next hill. So I tried it for 2 or 3 times, and I was like, this is part of the story, man. You're going to keep going. This just happens. And I was going so damn slow. I was like, this is not part of the story. Okay, what can you do? So I'm sitting there and I'm fiddling with this stuff. I called my mechanic, David, who tried to help me out. And he's like, dude, the only thing it could be was down in the junction at the bottom bracket. So I get a hold of Patrick, and he's not allowed to drive a battery to me, but he could ride a battery to me, and we could try that. But by the time I'd be able to ride to meet him and me go halfway, like it was good. Who knows how long that would take me. He was having a horrible day that like he couldn't push any watts. Like it would probably be 2 hours before we met up. At least probably, let's say 2 to 3 hours before I'm back on the road going the right way again. And I'm like sitting there, and he's like, dude, I got to ride home. I'm going to head back. And I was like, yo, that's my call too. And so this is the abbreviated version of like me being on the side of the road for half an hour, me yelling curse words into the wind with no one hearing me, because I was super disappointed. I was mad. I was just like, this sucks. Like I had trained a ton for this thing. It was something that I really wanted to just ride as long as my body would let me and see, and I felt so good. And like just to be at mile 200 and being like, I'm well over halfway there. The biggest thing I need to fight now is the nighttime and get through that. And as I hadn't seen anyone in a really long time, and it ends up as I sat there, I ended up sitting on the side of the road waiting for a ride while we tried to sort out a ride. Nobody passed me. Didn't see anyone. Like I was first and second was, as long as I could have survived, first and second was up the road. First was up the road, I was in second. You can never know what's going to happen over the next 150 miles. But damn, I felt good. And felt good for 200 miles, let's say. But, still had watts. Had just been keeping it pretty basic. So, I rode down to the end of the hill. And if you follow me on Instagram at Brendan Houser, I just posted a thing of the windmills and my bike on the road and said game over. And sometimes that's how things happen. And who knows why that happened, people are like, you didn't bring another battery? I didn't even think to bring another battery. I mean, I had the CO2 this time, had 6 of them, had the tubes, had all that bike stuff, the extra stuff. Like I didn't bring another derailleur. If my derailleur broke, I would have been effed. I didn't bring another chain. I kind of put battery in the same category as chain. Maybe not. Maybe that was foolish. But I was super disappointed. And then I was like, well, that was a cool ride. I did over 700 TSS in a ride, burned like 11 to 1,200 calories. I don't know exactly because my power meter went out for a little while. It was just one of those rides. So the thing was, though, the story afterwards is Patrick left his bike with a guy. and we were an hour car ride back to Winterset where we started. So thank you to the people that gave us a ride back. We get a ride back for an hour. We throw everything down. We get in the car. We drive back an hour to get his bike, drive back an hour. Over those 3 hours, I don't remember exactly what we ate. Patrick ate at a gas station, but I had some candy, a bottle of water that Patrick brought me, and I wanted real food, but we had none. So we got to the hotel room, and I think I grabbed like a roll and something random. We just talked about the race. We got all the stuff. We came back. We went to the grocery store, and I got some like bad soup. And I can't even remember, man. I was so like just out of it. Went to bed, slept 10 hours, woke up. The breakfast didn't look good. We're like, let's hit the road. Wasn't super hungry, which was kind of the first weird sign. Got to Starbucks and ate a breakfast sandwich, which you would have thought would have been like in one bite. And I was like chewing it. And one of those things where you're like, food tastes weird right now. I'm not really hungry, and coffee wasn't that exciting. And I just had this splitting headache. Apparently, I don't know if it was that I trashed my body, or if I end up getting weird food poisoning from something, or if I got caught a bug. For the next 5 days, I was violently sick. Monday came around. So we made the 10 and a half hour car ride home. Monday, I was like really out of it in the morning, just not feeling good. I went back to sleep, woke up at 5. That's when Chris goes to work. I was like, dude, I got to go back to sleep. And went back to sleep till like 8 or 8:30. Woke up and like started working, and like I couldn't even focus on like athlete files and looking at the computer. I was like, I don't know, something's not right. Tried to eat. Coffee wasn't even like sounding good. I slept from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. He came home from the gym. I think we ate something, and like number 2 was not good. Tuesday was the same thing. And then Wednesday, I'd scheduled to take him and meet 2 of my friends to Florida. And I thought I was on the mend. Boy, that airplane ride, it was like someone was stabbing my stomach, which is like air pressure and like the fear of sharding on a plane. It's like I would have taken snakes on a plane over sharding on a plane. So made it to Atlanta, spent like 2 of the 2.25 hours there in the bathroom, just like brutal. Got to Florida, kind of survived. Luckily had emotions again. I started reaching out. My brother-in-law is a doctor, so he was helping me with like GI stuff to do and low residue diet. But long story short, yeah, like I guess ultra people say the first one can really like crush you, and a lot of people get sick. But makes you strong like bull. I don't know, I hope so. And then I finally turned the corner on, so today's Monday. I'd say Friday I was like 95%. Saturday I was fully back to foods and getting those solid poops in. So Iowa, you like made me disappointed there, and then you brutally beat me down on the way home. So that was rough. Will I ever do an ultra thing again? I don't know. I don't like to say never. I mean, because you don't know. Life changes too quickly. Will I do it next year? Probably not. I just think that, to me, it's an adventure race. I don't know. People are going to hate that I say that, but it's just not. Right now, it's not for me. I'm focusing on different things. I would love if it was 20 hours. Let's say I would start at 4. Let's finish by 8. Let's finish by sunset. 16 hours. I just think that's more up my alley. I kind of like it being one day thing. It also sucks when you leave your partner and you come home and you're just like dead and emotionless. And I don't want that in my life right now. Maybe someday I'll do it again, but I will say, and even Patrick said, he's like, well, I'm really glad we did this, even if it's to learn that this isn't for us. We have a lot of crazy, big, mega rides. I'm super sad that I only made it 295 miles. I'm going to say 200, make myself feel better. I want to do a 300-mile ride. I love the road. I want to do a long road ride. And I'll be back. We're going to do some crazy stuff. Evoke Bike's going to do some crazy stuff. Patrick and I are going to do some crazy stuff. I just don't know what it is. I don't think it's going to be Iowa next year. So unless they changed it where it was a faster course, or you can't control that. I guess the gravel was super loose. It seems kind of dangerous at night right now for me. Anywho, that's the race. What's your third tip? I actually think I packed too much food. I would do all of this liquid fuel and then just buy food as you go. So have the headlight, have the reading things, focus more on the liquid fuel because you don't want to be stuck getting Gatorade. But dude, I could eat a sub. I could eat candy carbs. I think changing up would be better. So I brought too much of our own food. And honestly, banana bread, boom. We crushed that and we felt amazing. I did. We'll see. All right. Thanks for watching. Let people know that we're talking about gravel, ultra gravel. Let us know what you want to hear about. And I do have a carb loading video coming for you soon as well. Although I might make some tweaks to that, and I'll tell you what that is on the next video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you. See ya. Bye.